What do the talent understand ECW now to be? What is the role of ECW going to be in your world?
I don't think that anybody, and I might be totally wrong, but I don't think that anybody puts any stock into ECW. Because ECW was a different entity on its own when Paul Heyman had it and run it, and when it came to when Vince had it, you know, it sort of got watered down, got away from that hardcore stuff that ECW was known for, and you really couldn't do that on TV. So it sort of became a watered down version of the ECW that the ECW fans were used to and wanted, you know. But I don't think it, you know, I think it was just another wrestling show and wasn't true to what everybody thought ECW was. Miz had, you know, he'd done that Tough Enough thing, and he was, I mean, he was good, you know. He was like really physical. I mean, he won almost all the competitions on the Tough Enough stuff, and I mean, he was hungry. You could see that hunger in him. He was never really the best technical guy in there, but he was very, very willing to learn and always asking questions. I mean, he was like right at my side. Anytime I was with him, he was right there asking questions, trying things. You know, he was hungry to learn. So, you know, some people fail, but he was destined to get there because he just kept going and going and going. He would never. He didn't take no for an answer. He didn't take failure. He just kept going. If he slipped and fell, he'd get up and keep going. He wanted it and he went for it.
Does Piper come with a lot of baggage?
I think he has done. It's sometimes he's okay, other times he's, you know, I don't know what this is about old timers. You know, they go like, one day they're okay, the next day they're not. You know, it's like, you know, they can be sweethearts and then they can be demons. You know, but yes, to answer your question,
Piper is, I think, universally agreed to be one of the great talkers in the business and somebody who they could talk fans into the building. What percentage would you give the gift of gab if we were in the laboratory here and you were creating the perfect salable wrestler?
Well, nowadays I think it's a little bit 50% or more. You know, right now that's you got to be able to talk and communicate, not just in ring to the camera, but also, you know, media. They do a lot of interviews, a lot of media stuff. So you got to be able to communicate with kids to politicians. You know, you got to be able to do all that. So it's, you know, the dumb wrestler and the thick-headed, fat-bellied wrestlers out the window now. It's like you got to be a smart cookie. You know, I think a little bit of both. I think Paul had a lot of passion and probably still does for the business. He's very creative, sometimes a bit off the wall, which that's what creative people are. You know, you just keep throwing things till they stick. You know, but I think he had a great mind for the business. Upset a lot of people, I guess. I've banged heads on him a few times, like most people do, but it's not. That's just disagreeing and, you know, putting things together. And, you know, his philosophies may differ a little bit from mine. You know, and then again, it'll all come back into one anyway. But I think, you know, he kept that ECW going for 7 years. So.
Is he someone who can be one of several chefs in a kitchen, or is he the type of personality that definitely needs to be the chef in his own kitchen?
I think it's hard for Paul to be part of a team. I think he needs to have his way. I think that's what I get from him, you know. But in WWE, it's not. He couldn't get that power, you know. I think Paul would like total control. And I guess anybody with creative juice in them is like that anyway. We all think our ideas are better than somebody else's, you know. But you know, you got to stand off a little bit and go, okay, well, we'll all make it. As long as we're steering in the right direction, we're going to get there.